The Great Naming Disaster. When Mrs. McCave had too many Daves, in the sleepy little town of Whoville, where the pancakes were always fluffy and the sidewalks sparkled with morning dew, lived Mrs. McCave, a kind but terribly forgetful mother with 23 sons. Now, you might think raising 23 boys would be hard enough, but Mrs. McCave made things infinitely trickier one fateful Tuesday when she decided to name all of them Dave Mc... "It's simple," she declared, tying 23 identical lunchboxes with 23 identical one name to remember, and no Mc... Oh, how wrong she was! By breakfast the next day, chaos had already begun to bubble like a pot of overexcited oatmeal. The trouble started when little Dave shouted, "Dave, the toaster's on fire!" 22 heads whipped toward the kitchen, but Big Dave was already spraying a fire extinguisher. Curly Dave was screaming into a towel, and Quiet Dave was calmly fanning the smoke with a comic book. "Which Dave needs help?" Mrs. McCave wailed, waving her arms like a windmill in a hurricane. The toaster, now a charcoal brick, was the least of her problems. That afternoon, not a single Dave could find his left shoe. By Wednesday, Whoville School's principal, Mr. Peabody, sent home 23 identical notes. "Dear Mrs. McCave, Dave is failing math. Also, Dave glued Dave's hair to the art table. Sincerely, a very tired principal." Mrs. McCave groaned. Was it daring Dave who'd tried to skateboard off the roof? Or dreamy Dave, who kept spacing out during fractions? She'd never know. That night, as she tiptoed past 23, she had a revelation. This was a naming catastrophe of epic proportions. Something had to change, but what? On Thursday, disaster leveled up. The Whoville ice cream shop announced a free scoop day for all Daves. You can guess what happened next. 23 Daves stampeded through the door like a herd of sugar-crazed buffalo, and poor Scoopy Loo, the ice cream server, nearly fainted. "Dave wants chocolate. Dave wants rainbow sprinkles. No, the Dave wants my job," she yelped, as Jokester Dave accidentally swapped her scoop for a rubber chicken. By closing time, the shop was out of ice cream, out of patience, and covered in 23 identical fingerprints. That night, Mrs. McCave had a wild idea. Sneaking into the attic, she dragged out a dusty box labeled "Baby Names. Do not use." Inside were hundreds of glittery name tags she'd collected over the years. Zeke, Oliver, Wally, names as unique as her sons' personalities. Dawn. She tiptoed into the boys' room and began gently peeling Dave off their pajamas, replacing each one with a brand new name. Dancing Dave became Pablo. Giggly Dave turned into Finn. Inventor Dave was now Newton. One by one, the Daves were no more. When the sun rose, the McCave house erupted in joyful chaos, but organized chaos. "Pablo, your ballet shoes are by the fridge." "Finn, stop putting syrup in your brother's hair." "Newton, the toaster is not a science experiment." For the first time ever, everyone knew who was who. At school, Mr. Peabody nearly cried happy tears when Zeke McCave aced his math test, and Wally McCave proudly displayed a glue-free art project. Even Scoopy-Loo cheered when Oliver McCave politely ordered just one scoop. As the weeks passed, the McCave household transformed. Pablo choreographed a ballet in the backyard. Finn started a comedy club for squirrels. Newton, of course, invented a self-cleaning room. Now, the proud mother of Zeke, Pablo, Finn, Oliver, Whaley, Newton, and 17 other delightfully different boys, sighed with relief. "Note to self," she whispered, sticking the last Dave Namatag in her scrapbook. "Variety is the spice of life." And so, dear reader, if you ever visit Whoville, listen closely. You might hear Mrs. McCave's golden rule echoing down the streets. Be yourself unless you're a Dave. Then be a Wally, a Luna, or a Spike, but never just another Dave.